It's time for another book haul video. Yes. And to start, we've got 6 Bibles. I picked all these up this week at a library sale. They had a lot of Bibles, and it's an interesting selection. So let's get into it. These were all $1 or $2 each. And the first one here from this stack, which are all Catholic and all red, is a New American Bible, Revised Edition. It says Revised Edition on the spine. I don't know how well that's showing up, but and if you follow me on Facebook, and if you don't, how come? I recently picked up a NABRE in a paperback right here. But this is nice because it's a little more portable. It's about half the thickness. The paper's brighter. It does have a bit more ghosting. The paperback is very opaque, which is the advantage it has, but we get a little bit larger print in here too. And yep, so this is the NABRE, which is a Catholic translation. It has its own set of notes, which are printed with it. So I look forward to checking those out. And I think this will be very helpful. The next one in the stack here is a paperback. That one, that last one, this is I didn't say this is like one of those cheap faux covers that creases in the middle, but that's okay. This is a paperback. This is the RSV Second Catholic Edition, Ignatius. I love that cover. That's beautiful. I know there's a name for some of this art. Again, I'm not up on that. I do know these represent the 4 Gospels, and obviously that's Jesus Christ. But yeah, this is the RSV Second Catholic Edition, which will read pretty easily for me because I'm familiar with the RSV and NRSV. Looks like it's got some notes too. Yeah, there's some translation notes down there. Get that to focus. Oh, yeah, it's noting differences in Samuel and the other. It said Greek. I'm guessing it's referring to the Septuagint. Move ahead to the Isaiah. Oh, let's get into the New Testament. There's like a bunch of cross references, I assume. Translation notes. Some some notes. Yeah, background. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out as well. And the last of the Catholic Bibles is one I had not heard of until today. New Catholic Bible. That is not a translation I'd heard of. St. Joseph Edition. I've noticed several Catholic Bibles, they say St. Joseph Edition. I don't actually know what that means, so if you do, feel free to share. It's a giant print illustrated, which I looked at this one briefly already. Some of these I haven't really looked at too much yet. Keep changing my exposure. Dedicated to St. Joseph, and we've got different things about him there. And this said it was copyright 2019, and it seems like it's about brand new. Yeah, New Catholic Bible. If anyone's familiar with that translation or has any thoughts on it, please tell me. Because again, I had not heard of it, so I just grabbed it because it was something new. That's interesting. It's got notes to Ecclesiastes. So they just have all the notes like in the front of the book, or I'm sorry, at the end of the book. Oh, that's interesting. So here's Song of Songs. There's an introduction. There's the actual book. This is a very large print. They're not kidding. And then notes at the end. Oh, that is really interesting. I did not know this had notes. Actually, quite a few notes, huh? Huh. Well, that's really interesting. Okay. Well, look forward to checking that out as well. Okay. And then this stack, which is all black Bibles, these are all Protestant Bibles, I believe. And there's some interesting ones in here. So this is the proper name version of the King James Bible. I had never heard of that either. Large print again. So I'm guessing whoever owned a lot of these had a little trouble seeing. Okay, here early in this Bible, it explains what it's about, and I apologize about if there's any background noise. The dryer's running, but it says it's based on the King James, but the proper name of God is restored as Yahweh, and its essential short form, Yah. The name of the Messiah is presented as Yeshua, retaining the meaning of his name as Yah's salvation. Thousands of words are updated into modern English, making it easier to read. So it's kind of an updated King James based on some choices they made. Let's look at, let's see. This is 2019 by Name Publishers. Never heard of them, but this is like brand new. That ribbon hasn't even been taken out. So it's interesting. They have it in 5 sections here. Beginning in the law, history, poetic prophecy, Gospels and Acts. Oh, sorry, more than 5 sections. The epistles, prophecy again, and then the appendix, etc. List of illustrations. Okay, let's look at, let's go to Luke. I was reading Luke recently. Okay, so here's Luke 1:28. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, you that are highly favored, the Lord is with you, blessed are you among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said to her, Fear not, Mary, for you have found favor with God. And if we go over to the Magnificat, Mary said, My soul does magnify the Lord. See, I wanted to say, My soul doth magnify the Lord. I think that's how it's in the King James. And my spirit has rejoiced in God my Savior, for he has regarded the low estate of his handmaiden. For behold, from now on all generations shall call me blessed. So we can see they have updated the language some, not entirely. Some of it's been maintained, probably for poetic reasons. Handmaiden, of course, being, I would consider that an archaic word. Not as archaic as some words, but that's really interesting. So I don't know what that's like overall, but I'll be interested to check this out. So I'll learn more about that. But that was another one I had not heard of. The last Bible in that stack is going to be the most controversial one, I believe, and that's the Passion Translation, New Testament with Psalms, Proverbs, and Song of Songs. It's the 2020 edition. And the reason I'm even familiar with it is because of the controversy. Mike Winger is a pastor on YouTube. He's covered it a lot and how it adds to scripture, changes meanings, things like that. I'm not going to get into that because I don't know the Greek, Hebrew, or anything well enough to really dig into it like he has. And he's gotten several scholars to work on this along with him. But we'll just look real briefly at Psalm 23. And we see, I'll let you read it yourself, but we see Yahweh is my best friend and my shepherd. Well, that's the first time I've seen a translation that says best friend. And they offer a note here indicating their reasoning, but you can look into it yourself if you want to see it, what some of the things that have been said about this translation. But it's, in short, been accused of pushing a certain theological views by adding or changing things in a way that scholars, would not accept. Most scholars would not accept as being valid. So That's all I'm going to say about it. But it was there. It was cheap, so I picked it up because I thought I'll have a look myself. That cover is cool. I'll give them that. If anyone knows anything about the Passion Translation themselves, please feel free to share. All right, so before we go, we'll look at a few more things. These are not Bibles, just some other books I picked up recently. This is Prayers, Ancient and Modern. I shared this on Facebook recently. And it's a compilation of ancient prayers compiled by a Mary Tilston, I believe it is. Tilston, something like that. And from what I gathered, very little is known about her beyond the fact that she compiled some books of prayer. And this is the second edition, copyright 1928. The original one is widely available online. You can find it like on the Internet Archive. But what you get throughout are different prayers from various figures in Christian history, as well as from the ancient collects of the early churches, like 5th, 6th century and up. I believe she said in the introduction, about 1400 years of history. So it's pretty cool. Trying to find, I know some of these overlap with the Book of Common Prayer because they come from some of the sacramentaries in such ancient books that Thomas Kempis. But and they're organized, as you probably may have noticed, into daily readings. So that's really cool. I've been starting to look at this in my morning prayer time and enjoying it. Picked this up the same time I got that. These were both from Half Price Books. This is the Book of Common Prayer, a biography by Alan Jacobs. And I actually just picked it up a few days ago and I already read it. It's a relatively short book. It's a couple hundred pages, but they're very small pages, short pages. So this was really interesting. Mamo's been doing a video series on the Book of Common Prayer recently. And I saw this and I was really interested in the Book of Common Prayer and been thinking about it because of him, and really enjoyed this, and I'll do a video on it at some point. It got a lot into the history surrounding it, and boy, you find out a lot of people lost their lives and their heads over things related to the Book of Common Prayer in the Church of England. Last thing I picked up recently is this from a thrift store from my local Goodwill, From Ancient Tablets to Modern Translations, A General Introduction to the Bible by David Ewart. Now, this is from the 90s, and it's going to be quite dated in terms of history and scholarship on the Bible. Actually, I'm sorry, this is from 1983. I remember now, not the 90s. Because the NIV was still not quite finalized when this book was published. So a lot of this is so dated, I wouldn't really read it. But the reason I grabbed this is because of this. They have a nice coverage of some of the translations that we find often in thrift stores from the, say, 60s and 70s. So we see like the Knox translation, Phillips, RSV, New English Bible, New American Standard Version, Living Bible, Good News Bible, and the NIV, which was still finishing up when this was published. So that's pretty cool. I read the section on the Phillips because I'm planning to do a video on that soon, and I learned some things I didn't know. So this was worth getting for a little extra information on those. Anyways, that's everything I got. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. And yeah, as always, as I get time and get to, I just dropped one of the Bibles. Nice. As I get time to look at these, I will do some videos on them, hopefully. If you have anything you'd like to share, please do so in the comments below. I thank you for watching. God bless, and we'll see you for the next one.